We were held in tunnels where we could barely breathe. We were literally gasping for our breath. Day after day, one of them came up to me and he stood above me and he started to scream at me out of the blue, and he cursed me and he spat on me and he kicked me, and this happened day after day. I witnessed a woman being beaten. They brought me into a room where they had taken this woman into, a hostage. I feel like it haunts me to this day, what I saw and the fact that I wasn't able to help this woman.
Keith, if you can tell me first of all, how did you survive? How did you keep going?
Knowing that my family are suffering so much, I promised myself that I must survive. I must reunite with my family to bring an end to their suffering. That was something that gave me a lot of strength. I would close my eyes and picture, and I would start with my mother every time, and I would close my eyes until I saw her, actually, in my imagination, her face. And then I would tell her that I'm doing okay, and that I hope she's doing okay, and that I hope we see each other soon. My mother passed away 2 months before I was released. Wasn't able to say goodbye to her. And then I would continue to my wife, Aviva, my 4 children, and my 5 grandchildren. I would see them in my imagination, and I would just try desperately to tell them that I'm doing okay. So my family gave me a lot of strength, and my Jewish faith gave me a lot of strength. I thought a lot about my people, the Jewish people that I am a part of. All of the catastrophes and atrocities that our people, my people, have endured for over its history, gave me a lot of strength thinking about people in the Holocaust, like you said, and the survivors of the Holocaust. It was if these people were able to survive that, I felt like, my suffering is much less than what they experienced, and actually thinking that my family was suffering much more than I was.
What were the conditions of your captivity?
Aviva and I were kidnapped, and we spent from our home at gunpoint, and they shot at us, and I was wounded in my wrist by a bullet, and then we were taken into Gaza in our car, and we were held in a tunnel. We could have been the only people kidnapped. We didn't know the extent of what happened. Shortly after that, they brought in a young man from our community who was covered with blood, and then a woman with her 3 children who had been wounded, and the woman said to us, our neighbors of our very small community of Kfar Aza, around 900 people total, she told us that the terrorist had murdered her husband and murdered her oldest daughter in front of their eyes, and then kidnapped her and her 3 children aged 17, 9, and 7 in their car into Gaza. And after 3 days, we were taken out. I just want to say the entrance to the tunnel was from inside of a residential home, and we were taken out of the tunnel into a residential home. So the entrance and the exit of this tunnel were from in homes and in homes, yes. So, and then they took the young man, and we remained a few days with this family until they took them. We were held in tunnels where we could barely breathe. We were literally gasping for our breath. Aviva and I were moved around 13 times until she was released on day 51. And then I was moved another 20 times, a total of 33 times throughout my time in captivity. So I was in tunnels, we were in tunnels, and I was held in a school, on the landing of a stairwell.
What were the conditions that you were enduring at that time?
Various conditions. Some of the time I was locked up by myself in a room. Some of the time I was locked up with another hostage in a room. Some of it I was living with terrorists, 3 terrorists most of the time in the living conditions we were in. I spent 6 months, I don't know if I already said that, alone. The rest of the time after Aviva was released, I was alone or with another hostage. And I said either alone in rooms or, and some of the conditions were very, very cramped. Some of them, there was more room. I was held in a very small apartment where they wouldn't let me walk around at all. They told me to lie on the floor, not move, and day after day, one of them came up to me and he stood above me and he started to scream at me out of the blue. And he cursed me and he spat on me and he kicked me. And this happened day after day. Kicked me in my legs and kicked me in my ribs.
Did you witness similar attacks on other hostages?
I witnessed a woman being beaten. They brought me into a room where they had taken this woman into, a hostage, and I see her lying on the floor, and her hands were tied together and her feet were tied together, and they had covered her mouth with tape, and there were 3 terrorists in the room, and 2 were beating her with a rod. They were accusing her of having a high position in the IDF, which I knew was not true. She's also from our community, from Kfar Aza, and they told me that I must convince this woman to confess and to tell them what her position is and what they want to know. I did what they told me to do, and I said, you need to confess. I don't even know what I felt at the time, but after, telling the story over and over again, I feel like it haunts me to this day. What I saw and the fact that I wasn't able to help this woman to stop this beating of her and stabbing her in the forehead. They could be just like that from looking happy and smiling and joking, and then all of a sudden just become agitated, violent. So never know what to expect. And after I was kicked and spat on, just every time that terrorist walked by me, I was afraid, it would happen again, and maybe even worse than that after I had seen what they did to that woman. I was engaging with them and trying to learn Arabic as much as possible, because that's basically the only language they speak, and trying to be open-minded and trying to show empathy to them. And they were always trying to convince me to convert to Islam, saying that only Muslims go to heaven and everybody else goes to hell, and that I must convert. And why am I a Jew? I remember just thanking me, and I remember they would ask, why are you what are you thanking us for? And I would say, thank you that you're not kicking me or beating me or spitting on me. If a day went by without them doing that to me, it was a day that I had something to say thank you for. And I was grateful for that. Or not murdering me or killing me or whatever. Not being able to clean my body for 484 days because there was never a proper facility to do that, or to wear clean clothes. When I was released, I scrubbed my body 3 times while my wife and my son were waiting for me to be reunited with them, but still I wanted to get all of this filth of 484 days off of my body.
Keith, can I ask you, how relieved were you to see the 20 hostages released just last week?
Having 4 friends that I met in captivity and I spent time with there, still in captivity, that's when I decided that if I am able to do anything to help advocate for their release, I will do that. And Aviva and I went to the US 5 times advocating and we met President Trump and Steve Witkoff and many high-ranking officials in the US administration. I think what helped me coming back was having a purpose in life, and a very meaningful purpose, and that was to advocate and be involved in getting the hostages released. And of course, and first and foremost, my family that gave me so much strength in captivity and continue to give me strength and support since my release. You know, I can share my experience, and I'm happy to share my experience to the hostages, both in captivity and since I was released. But I think it would be, what's the word? Yeah, I mean, you know, what I experienced and how my release has been compared to all the others could be similar, could be...
Everyone's unique.
Yeah, everyone's unique. But what I can say is I'm quite sure that they will all be dealing with being famous people and being people that are recognized in the streets. And many people, this is something that I experienced, and I'm quite sure that all of the hostages, to one extent or another, will no longer be anonymous.
The whole nation now is still fighting for the release of the remaining fallen hostages.
Every day I wear a shirt, either in English. I decided today would be in English because of our interview, or in Hebrew. And I continue to... My mission, our mission, is not complete until all of the hostages are brought back. So as long as I am able to and capable of and have opportunities to speak out about the importance, the need to get all of the hostages back, I will continue to do that until there's a definite, you know, a factual identification of these people, to know that they were actually dead, and to be able to bury them and to have a grave to come to and mourn.
Keith Siegel, thank you very, very much for your time.
Thank you.